Okay, President Campbell.
Oh, hi, and welcome to the budget subcommittee meeting for a Monday, October the 12th, 2020. Mr. Battle?
Yes, and I will defer to the superintendent if there's, we always ask if there's any public comments, and we'll defer to Rais if he's received any or public comments.
Okay.
No, I did not get any comments. Nothing.
Well, I think we are ready to entertain questions, President Campbell.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm substituting tonight for Trustee Burke, who unfortunately has had a sad occasion where she has lost her father. And so I'm substituting for her. Also, Trustee Crosby is going to be a few minutes late. She had a bit of an emergency at home as well. So I'm substituting. So if I'm stumbling my way around, it's because I only had like a couple hours to prepare. So the first question I have is on 11.4 consent item regarding the pool of qualified project stabilization agreement consultants. I'm not understanding why we're doing this. Do we have a pool already, or we didn't have a pool? We are not happy with ones we have, or
So actually, it's none of the above.
none
We
of the above?
currently have the Solis Group has been our project stabilization consultant for the last 6.5 years. By public contract code and ed code, we're required to every 5 years solicit new contracts for professional services. We issued a request for qualifications, and the Solis Group did not choose to participate. So the response that we received, we whittled it down to the 2 firms that we currently have listed, and they are going to be used to basically complete out the remainder of the contracts that have not already been awarded for our Measure E projects, as well as anything else that we may potentially need for project stabilization services in the district. But we're fine with the Solis, but they just chose not to re-qualify themselves for additional work.
Additional work?
Well, they're currently under contract for 4 projects that are ongoing. When those finish, that will be the extent of their contractual work that they have with us.
And when would that be? Do you know?
There's one that will finish in December, and the other 3 will finish in the fall of 2021 and spring of 2022.
Okay. 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 Thank you very much. And then we'll bring on these 2 after that, or in between?
In between, because
Okay.
as you know, we have Centerville, Hopkins, and our Group 1 projects that are going to be launching, and all of those fall under the PSA agreement. So as those projects are brought online, we will solicit their services, and each project will have, basically a proposal that they will have to submit to us for the amount of time and expense that it would take to monitor those.
I see. Okay. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Okay. Some of these are just sort of regular, what we always do for, in terms of our facilities. They're pretty standard. But I think there's one that stands out to me as well. And that's 11.8, which is the Mission Valley ROP. And do we standardly receive the same amount of income from Mission Valley ROP, or does it fluctuate?
I can respond on that one. So for the rental of the facility, it fluctuates. It's 3.5% hired from the prior year, based on the agreement that was signed way back in 2005. For the service agreement, it was the same dollar amount in the past years, but we have negotiated that we get a statutory COLA, not necessarily funded COLA, for 2020-21. And Mission Valley ROP approved, or the original board approved with a 2.31% COLA.
2.31% COLA?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you said statutory versus
Funded.
funded. So, but if it's budgeted, would it not be funded?
No, for example, for fiscal year 2021, 2020 and 2020, 2021, the statutory COLA was 2.31%, but the funded COLA is 0.
I see.
So we were able to negotiate it with the statutory COLA.
Okay. Is this higher than the previous year?
Yes.
Okay. And it's just for facilities? It's not for teachers or staff?
The service agreements is mostly what it is enumerated on the agreement is for personal services, financial services, management services, routine maintenance, mostly on the business side and HR side of the realm.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. I don't see much else on here for, oh, I probably need to go to regular agenda.
I had a quick question on 15.8.
Okay.
So it says the budget source is lottery funds / general fund. So I'm assuming that the original funds came from the lottery, but they're pooled into the general, kind of similar how the CARES Act thing worked. I just wanted to clarify.
Good question. I was coming to that too. think I asked that earlier in our.
Zaire, can you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
Sorry. So for 15.8, the budget source is lottery funds / the general, but the money originally is from the lottery funds.
No, our instructional material budget is made up of lottery and general funds because the lottery portion is usually not enough. So it's supplemented by general funds. So that's why it's listed that way, because it is a combination of lottery and general funds that provides funding for our instructional material budget.
And what part is what part?
So let me see. Robbie, can you pull it up real quick? I think
Let me find that.
I can tell you that in 1 second. Or do you know, Rice? We were just looking at this, so I know we had that in an email with the break, what portion is general fund of the budget and what portion is lottery.
So Marcus, our total lottery income that we get is about $1.4 million. It's pretty much the same every year. But our
Right.
total instructional materials budget is about roughly $4 million. So anything in addition to 1.4 million is general fund.
So the total budget is 4 million, about 4 million, and
4 million is lottery.
1.2 is lottery, and the rest of it, which is about 2.8, is general fund.
Yes, unrestricted general fund.
Right.
Superintendent, Trustee Crosby is trying to get into the meeting and is having difficulty.
We'll ask Marcus. I think he is the host. Hopefully he can provide
Yeah, I
her
don't-
Her
access.
in the waiting room?
Yeah, I don't see her right now. I'll look again. Yeah, I don't show anybody in the waiting room right now. Because it usually just pops up on the screen, so I don't, there's nothing indicating that there's someone in the waiting room.
Okay. She's probably trying, she said she's trying to put in a password or something. I didn't get a password to get in. So let me see.
You may have the wrong link.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
send
she,
her.
yeah.
uh,
Yeah, did that answer your question, Zion?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Okay.
It didn't answer mine. I'm sorry. Did I miss it? Because I'm trying to multitask here. So tell me again, please. What part was
We said
of
it's
the
a-
of the
our-
of the of the 1,200,495,000? What part is lottery and what part is general?
Well, what we were saying was that we go by the total budget. So the total budget for instructional materials is close to $4 million. 1.2 million of that is lottery, and then it's supplemented by general funds. So we don't really break it out by lottery, general fund. It's all included in instructional materials budget.
But how could you say 1.2 million is lottery? Is that what you get?
No, we're saying how much we receive from the state.
Okay, so the total, so then in other words, we could reframe that then. So
Mhm.
you saying that 4 million minus 1.2 is equal to 2.8. So 2.8
Right.
is general, right?
Yes.
And what part of the 1.2 are you using for this particular item? All of it? Because if it's 1.2 and it's all lottery, you don't need any general fund.
No,
because
that,
you have
well,
enough.
what we were saying is that the way our budgets are set up, it's a combination of lottery and general fund. So when we're procuring items, we don't separate it out by lottery, general fund. It's all because it's all coming from one pot of money, which is the lottery general fund budget. So there's a budget for instructional materials of 4 million. So we don't separate it out. It's all
Then why say that then? If you're not going to separate it out, why confuse us by saying a portion comes from a lottery and the other portion comes from general fund? It's very
we were
confusing.
showing the budget source.
No, I understand
So-
that. But when you say that you have two budget sources, and when we ask, both student board member and myself asked, well, okay, you got two budget sources. Can you share with us of these two budget sources, how much of this, because this is a lot of money, $1 million plus, how much of it is, and maybe you need to go back and think about it for a minute. You're not necessarily needing to answer it now, but how much of that $1 million plus is coming from lottery fund and how much is it coming from general fund? I mean, I think that's a fair question if you're going to put it out in the air for us to have to respond to when parents and community members are asking us the same question. I think
So,
that's a fair
Robbie,
question.
Robbie or Rice, do you guys have a response to that? Maybe a little different than what I just said?
The way Marcus said, actually, that's the real answer. But to answer your question, after we use up all the lottery funds, $1.2 million, and that doesn't matter at one point, we use up all the money because we make installment payments throughout the year. So basically, we use up the lottery funds first. Once they are exhausted, then we start using unrestricted dollars. At this point, right now, because this is only October, it's difficult to say which one is going to be used first. But since when we prepared the budget, we know that the total amount of budget for instructional material is $4 million. And historically, these two have been the sources of money. And one more thing, instructional materials is paid off by lottery and general fund. Both of them are general fund. One is restricted source, one is unrestricted source. But basically, that's all general fund.
Mm. You know, I really appreciate that, this dialogue. I really appreciate what you're saying, but I still don't think that it gets to our question. The answers our question in a way that really makes sense to people who are not financial people. And that's what we have to really try to get to, so that when our community is clear. And I think one of the things I just heard you say is 1.2 million of that is lottery money, and you're going to use all of that up first, right?
Yes.
And then you're going to go to unrestricted general fund. So my question goes back to that point that you just made. If that's the case, why do we need to use unrestricted general fund if you got $1.2 million in lottery? We don't need to use any general fund money.
What we'll do between now and Wednesday, we'll take a look and see if all of the 1.2 million portion of the instructional material budget has been absorbed. Because as you said, we try to spend the restricted portion first, or
Mhm.
that portion first before we spend the general fund portion. So we'll
Right.
have now that we understand exactly what you are pinpointing, we'll have more information on Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that so much. Okay. Is she in the waiting room now? I sent her the link.
I still don't see her.
Okay. Uh, hold on one second.
Marcus, I don't know if you can make me a co-host. I can keep my eye out for it as well.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see.
So, one more question on this, please, Mr. Battle. So just going back to, I mean, again, this is a lot of money. It's a big ask. So when you say we're going to spend, we're going to make a down payment of $200,000, and then we're going to pay $600,000 before the end of the school year. And then
It was
make a-
actually, yeah, 600 is actually in the next school year. It's in July. By
Oh, okay. So by the next school year, by the
Mhm.
end of the next school year. So that
by
gives us-
July, by the first month, July 30th,
So how many months does that give us?
1 month into the new fiscal year.
So that's 12 months? We're gonna pay $600,000 for 12 months? Or buy?
So the way this is supposed to work is they're
Mhm.
we have to give them 200,000 upfront.
Mhm.
Then we pay another 600,000 in by July
Oh,
30th,
Oh, okay.
which would be the
Okay.
next fiscal year.
I see. Okay.
And yeah,
But aren't we already, and where is that gonna come from? Lottery or general fund?
I would, we would have already expended the lottery portion of it, so it would be the general fund portion.
Okay. And did the county already give us some concern about our out year expenditures, and how does this relate to that?
This is this has really no relation to that, because what we are attempting to do, and instruction could kind of talk about this also on Wednesday, but what we are attempting to do is to meet the needs of for instructional materials for outdated textbooks, and we utilizing a strategy of negotiating with the textbook manufacturers so that we can spread out the monies. So
Mhm.
that's what we are attempting to do, and not increase the budget. So we're doing this by not increasing the budget, but being able to spread out our expenses.
So you're saying for 2021 and 2022, you have budgeted $600,000 for this.
We have a way to pay for it without increasing the budget.
No, that's not my
budget.
question. And I'm not asking if you're going to increase the budget. I'm asking for 2021,
Mhm.
especially since we already, got some warning about where we are.
Right.
And for 2022, you have budgeted $600,000 to pay for this. And you've also budgeted $221,000 in the 2021 and 2022 budget, since you said that this $1 million+ is budgeted. I'm just concerned because we already have, and I know we need to do this, but I just
Right.
want us to be thoughtful in how we're going to do this.
Yes, so we are doing our best to work with instructional services to balance out the adoptions that they would like to do over the next 2 to 3 years by spreading out the expense so that we are not increasing the budget. So that's what we are attempting to do, and to work with them to do that.
Right, I understand, and you may not have the answer right now. I mean, I don't expect you to have answers right off the cuff, but I'm concerned about this item.
Yeah, yeah. No, I understand that.
Yeah,
And that's why we really try to find a way to work, to try to work within our means to to move these adoptions forward.
Right, I understand, and I know
Yeah.
we've been using that, and it's time for us to pony up. But I just need to understand how that's going to happen in a way that doesn't set us back.
I understand.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, we'll swing back around to that, and we'll come back to that. Okay. Thank you. Sufficiency of Anne said that she was having a hard time getting in. She dropped off because nobody would let her in. And so she dropped off the call. She said she only had one question. She didn't tell me what that one question was, however, so I can't answer for her. Let me see. Okay, I think the non-public agency is yours as well. Okay, construction projects. We had quite a few of those construction projects. The only one I had a really question about. Okay, so she said her question wasn't a big deal. Was this Thornton project? Ms. Kelly, are these all budgeted items for this Thornton project, for this amendment?
Sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. Yes, actually, all of these expenses were included in the overall project increase that we had requested last month.
Mm.
So these are costs that had already been identified, and now we are executing the amendments for the agreements for the additional work that's required.
Okay. So all of the I'm sorry. Oh. I'm so sorry. My dog got on a little barking. Somebody walked by the house or something. So Ms. Kelly, so all of the ones that we have that are coming up for our construction projects have all been budgeted. We're all within budget. We're not going over anything right now.
No, not at this moment. And as I said, when we had submitted the Thornton budget increase, we had already calculated and, got all of our costs with all of our sub-consultants so that we wouldn't have to come back to you all multiple times for an overall increase. So yes, this has been budgeted and we are right on target for right now.
Okay. And then I noticed I drove by Centerville the other day, so it looks like they got some fencing going up. They got the yellow, I mean, the green wiring going. So they're pretty much on
They
on
are ramping
really
up and
on
getting
schedule.
started.
Okay.
Things are going to start to happen very quickly there.
Okay.
We're excited and so far so good. So we'll keep you guys posted of any major happenings. But yes, they are mobilizing and beginning to establish the boundaries for the construction and
Mhm,
all the usual things that go on.
mhm, mhm. Um, One kind of maybe not so popular question, but I think I want to ask it now. If for some reason, just for some reason, because the counties are coming back and they're getting in the red and the orange, and so people are having these conversations about opening schools back up. How if we were to say we're going to, just for the sake of discussion, nobody said we're going to do it, but just for the sake of discussion, and you may not have this answer, we decide like January is a good time, right after the holidays and into the next semester to go back to some sort of in-person learning. How is that going to impact construction?
We are planning for multiple contingencies. So I don't have an exact answer for you, but we are looking at all of our options, and whatever the decision the district makes, we will make adjustments to accommodate.
I see. Okay. But will that hinder your schedule that you're on? Because it would appear, one would assume, since their schools are not, you could be a little bit more aggressive in your planning because you don't have the students that you have to work around. But if you have to get the students back, will that create some delays for you in your current planning?
I'm not going to speak and say definitively yes, but as we look at all of our options, we will try and accommodate as best we can as to not allow that to happen. But in the event, as we said before, construction is very risky and volatile, and it's kind of like a crapshoot, but we're doing the best that we can to prepare for whatever options we end up choosing, so that we, one, of course, keep the students safe and keep operations the way that we need them to be. But I will hold off on answering that in its entirety until we get to where we make that decision, and then I'll be able to have some more concrete answers for you.
I appreciate that. That was kind of an off-the-cuff question. Since I had a captive audience, I like to ask my questions. And then Mr. Battle and Mr. Rais, one quick question also. I know right now for this school year, and we talked a little bit about it as it related to this textbook adoption and our budget situation. Are we holding steady? Are there any areas that the public should maybe be aware of at this point? I know the governor hasn't made any bold statements about what the budget is going to be looking at come January, but it would be interesting to note if there's something that we should be lobbying for.
Not that I'm aware of, outside of Prop 15.
Right.
We hope that everybody will support, the entire community will support, because that will bring very much needed funding to the school districts.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I'm not aware of anything. Are you, Rice, outside of Prop 15?
No, nothing on the state level. On the federal level, the stimulus package, which can be about
That's another one.
$1.8
Yeah.
billion,
Mm-hmm.
that is still some hope, but
Mm-hmm.
nothing is happening there until, I think, election. So maybe right after election, we can hear something, but nothing before that.
You don't think that the federals are going to move on the stimulus package before then?
In the next 24 days, I doubt it very much, because I don't think anything is happening on that level.
Right. Well, I think the president said that he was halting all conversations around the stimulus until after the election. I'm sure I heard that too. Yeah. Okay. But as far as the school district is concerned, we're just holding steady where we are.
For now, yes.
Yeah, and we are, and as you know, President Campbell, we're waiting to hear back from the Alameda County Office of Ed regarding our conditional budget approval.
Right.
that they have to provide us some notification, I believe, by November the 5th or somewhere around there. They have to give us an official word
Okay.
of what
Mhm.
are with our budget. So
Mhm. Yeah, so that's why I was concerned about this $1 million plus, this 600,000 and this additional 220
you
plus
know,
thousand,
and
because we are in this conditional stage. I just want to make
and,
sure
and
that it, was in
no,
the budget that we gave them. So that
right,
it's not,
right.
like
No,
you
and
said, yeah.
we get that. I mean, if we needed to increase the budget, then we would advise the board. Right now, for this year, for that item, we would not have to increase the budget, but it may affect adoptions in the future years that may or may not be able to come forward. So
Mhm.
they said this was the most important one, the most important pressing one,
Mhm.
is that we may have to move. And they have a worksheet and that they utilize in purchasing with all the adoptions on there. And maybe
Mhm.
at some point we can share that with the board. But
Yeah.
it does have all of the current and future adoptions. And
Mhm.
As you said, in order to make sure that we can afford this without increasing the budget, it might require us to push things out so that we can spend within our means.
Mhm. Mhm. I think that would be good information to know, honestly, in terms of, especially with this conditional budget state that we're in. What are the textbook adoptions? When do you plan to do it? And then we could have a discussion around whether or not that should be pressed forward, go where steady,
Right.
steady as we go, or if there's some, adjust and adapting
Right.
that we need to
We
do.
we totally agree that that's an item that
Mhm.
should weigh in on. Absolutely.
Yes, yeah. That would be important. I know we've been talking about this in GSS for a while, and I'm sure the parents are probably wondering, when is this going to happen as well? So it's going to be important for us to figure out how we could get this done. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Without risking our status, however.
Right.
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 Okay. That's all the questions I have. I'm a question of one. And then Trustee Campbell said, Trustee Crosby said that she was okay with her question. It wasn't important. Yeah, she said it was not a big deal. She must have asked it someplace else. Okay, so I give
Okay.
you guys 15 minutes early. You get the day off. You get the 15 minutes day off.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Diane, did you have any other questions?
Nope, I didn't have any questions.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, thank
Okay.
you, President Campbell.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Okay.
you. Wonderful
Have a
evening.
great evening. Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, bye.